Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the AM News on Global Television, reaching you live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now let's bring you the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has asked the Senate to confirm the newly appointed service chiefs following a major reshuffle in the nation's military leadership. Senate President Godswill Akpabio announced the request during Tuesday's plenary, saying that the nomination include General Olufemi Oloyede as Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Wahidi Shaibu as Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Idi Abbas as Chief of Naval Staff, Air Vice Marshal Kennedy Aneke as Chief of Air Staff, and Major General Emmanuel Undende as Chief of Defense Staff. In his letter to the upper chamber, President Tinubu urged lawmakers to accord the request expedites consideration, emphasizing the urgency of reinforcing Nigeria's security architecture. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has warned that any form of violence during the Anambra State governorship election will attract a firm and decisive response from security agencies. Ribadu, who has represented by Hassan Yahya Abdullahi, Director of Internal Security at the Office of the NSA, issued a warning on Tuesday in Abuja during a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security with officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The NSA assured that the federal government has put in place comprehensive security measures to ensure a peaceful, free and credible election in November 8, 2025. The House of Representatives resumed legislative business for a new week with Speaker Tajuddin Abbas chairing plenary, where national accountability and infrastructure needs took center stage. A major item of debate focused on Nigeria's football governance as lawmakers raised concern over alleged misappropriation of FIFA and CAF development funds by the Nigerian Football Federation. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
The event brought together diplomats, business leaders, and golf enthusiasts in a lively display of unity through sports. The ambassador of Philippines to Nigeria, Mel Jo, congratulates Nigeria on her 65th years of independence, describing the milestone as a symbol of resilience and hope.
It's also a special event for friends of Nigeria, like the Philippines, and
we apologize for that mix-up. We'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. Now to the next story, where Nigeria and the European Union have resolved to strengthen diplomatic relations and to chart a way forward in a new chapter as they get into an interstate and interparliamentary relations. Global Television Foreign Affairs correspondent has the report.
Nigeria has become the 77th shareholder of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD, as part of efforts to deepen its long-standing partnership with the European Union, EU. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, announced this during a meeting with a visiting delegation from the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee in Abuja.
We have a lot of lessons to learn from the European Union, that incidentally also is still talking about how to integrate more. So it gives us hope, and it is clearly a model that we seek to emulate, and we are rest assured here to do whatever is necessary to strengthen those ties, the existing ties, and to continue to work and collaborate with the European Union.
Speaking on behalf of the delegation, David McAllister, a member of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, said The 6-member team was visiting Nigeria to better understand developments in Africa, particularly in West Africa, as he described Nigeria as a strategic partner and a major political and economic power in the region.
Nigeria is considered as a strategic partner for the European Union. We have a long-lasting, good and close relationship based on shared values and also on joint interests. The European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee travels with smaller delegations a few times a year to other parts of the world, and we mainly travel to get to know better the countries, to understand better the challenges these countries are facing, also the opportunities these countries have, and we are also there to very carefully listen.
This visit was a reflection of Europe's recognition of Nigeria's central role in Africa's future. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global TV News.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says Abuja's smart city vision is transforming the nation's capital into a model of innovation, sustainability, and citizen-centered development. The minister made this known at the 2025 Asia-Pacific City Summit and Mayors Forum in Dubai. Kabir Hassan has details.
The FCT minister joined global mayors and city leaders to share Abuja progress toward becoming the world-class smart city. He said the administration's smart city vision is anchored on 5 key pillars: urban mobility, sustainability, public safety, and digital governance, and economic empowerment, all designed to enhance infrastructure and improve service delivery to residents.
A smart city should be a city that responds to the needs of its citizens with ease and efficiency. Abuja's smart city vision is anchored, 1, on urban mobility in terms of providing national transportation network and try to reduce traffic congestion. It also has to be dependent on sustainable urban development.
The minister highlighted partnership with international agencies, including JICA on smart water metering and Chinese support for intelligence traffic lights, alongside ongoing projects like the Abuja City Walk and Abuja Industrial Park. He said under President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, the FCT is expanding transport networks, promoting renewable energy, deploying CCTV surveillance, and creating digital governance platforms such as FCT call center and digitized land registry.
The federal government realizes that it is an important approach, and therefore to achieve this, we have what we call National Employment Database that makes us to profile and note the number of youths that are unemployed and underemployed.
Wike also revealed plans for nation employment database to connect young people to job opportunities through the Abuja Enterprise Agency, describing it as a vital step toward empowering the city youths and driving innovation. The FCT minister was accompanied by senior officials of the FCTA, as Abuja positioned itself as a leading example of smart and sustainable urban growth in Africa. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
The Tertiary Education Trust Fund has commissioned a new Faculty of Social Science lecture theatre and office complex at the Nasarawa State University, KEFI, reaffirming its commitment to improving infrastructure and academic standards in Nigeria's tertiary institutions. Jumai Mansin reports.
The commissioning ceremony held at the university's main campus in KEFI, dignitaries, university officials, and TED Fund representatives to celebrate the completion of the 2020-2021 Merge Annual Intervention Project, a 717 million naira facility designed to enhance teaching, learning, and research. Right Honorable Aminu Masari described the project as proof of TET Fund's transparency and impact in higher education. He commended the university's management led by Professor Saadatu Hassan Liman for ensuring the judicious use of the intervention funds.
This project stands as yet another visible testimony of our collective commitment to strengthening Nigeria's higher education through Nigerian higher education system in line with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR.
Representing the Executive Secretary, Architect Babatunde Olajide said the timely completion of the project reflects strong collaboration between TET Fund, the university, and the state government. He affirmed the fund's commitment to continued support for quality infrastructure and innovation-driven learning nationwide.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, management and staff of TET Fund, I wish to commend the leadership of the university for their dedication and prudent utilization of intervention funds granted by TET Fund. The timely completion of any project is indeed an accomplishment that is worth applauding.
Vice-Chancellor Professor Saadatu Hassan Liman appreciated TET Fund's transformative interventions, noting that positive impact on teaching, research, and students' access to quality education.
Bearing in mind we have 4 campuses, that means that at the end of the day, Nasarawa State University KEFI will be paying more than almost up to 55 million every month for the power they are consuming in their university. And therefore, we are calling on TET Fund and passionately requesting to also pay attention to the issue of power supply in higher institutions of learning in Nigeria.
Jumai Manson reporting for Global Television.
The National Association of Employed Nigerians Living with Disability has called on the government to provide employment opportunities to members. Unemployment remains a pressing issue in Nigeria, and persons living with disabilities are urging greater support. Ubong Usoro reports.
Speaking in Abuja, the association said that despite having skills and qualifications, many of its members continue to face barriers in securing employment due to discrimination and lack of accessibility in workplaces. They called on both the federal and state governments to implement inclusive policies, ensuring that persons with disabilities can contribute meaningfully to the nation's workforce. The association also urged private organizations to open their doors to persons with disabilities, noting that inclusion is not just a moral obligation, but a step towards national development. Ubong Usoro for Global TV.
The live broadcast of the AM News. The AM News returns after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back from that break. Now, let's take you to the world of business, where the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has pledged to support Dangote Refinery's plan to expand production capacity to 1.4 million barrels per day from 650,000 barrels per day. Tinubu gave the assurance at the 19th edition of the OTL African Downstream Conference and Exhibition in Lagos. The president, who was represented by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Henneken Lokpobiri, described the project as a game changer for Nigeria, West Africa, and the global energy market. The Senate has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the anti-graft and financial institutions for their coordinated effort that led to the removal of Nigeria from the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, released. The commendation followed a motion of urgent national importance sponsored by Senator Emmanuel Udende, APC Benue Northwest. Topsy Gimba has details.
Senator Emmanuel Udende noted that the first recent announcement marks a major milestone in Nigeria's anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing reforms, reflecting the country's strong commitment to global financial integrity standards. He recalled that Nigeria's previous inclusion on the grey list has exposed the country to intense international scrutiny, reducing investor confidence and restricting access to global financial markets.
The fact that Nigeria has been delisted from the grey list, and the resultant effect is that immediately Nigeria was delisted, Naira appreciated. Even at the black market, when it was selling at 1,485, dropped down, Naira appreciated to 1,475.
Lawmakers expressed delight that Nigeria's removal from the list has boosted investor confidence, restored the country's financial credibility, and reaffirmed its commitment to transparency and accountability. The Senate further observed that the delisting will improve trade facilitation and remittance inflows as Nigerian financial institutions now enjoy smoother and faster cross-border transactions. In adopting the motion, the upper chamber commended President Tinubu, the Senate President, and all relevant agencies for their leadership and collaboration in achieving the milestone.
Will go a long way in boosting investor confidence in Nigeria, because this singular act has brought our anti-financial crime laws in tandem with international best practices.
1 year, they brought a lot of integrity into our economy, and that is the result we are getting now. Last week, we remember, Senate President, you allowed a motion to commend EFCC for the work that they are doing.
Well, you have been able to represent Nigeria effectively. Even at the International IMF meeting, you were able to get them to apologize to Nigeria for the statement they made.
The Senate also urged regulatory, financial, and law enforcement agencies to consolidate on the gains by maintaining continuous compliance with international standards and strengthening institutional coordination to prevent any relapse. It further mandated its Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes to sustain oversight and legislative reviews that will enhance Nigeria's financial governance framework and ensure the country remains a global benchmark for transparency and integrity. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
Now to the foreign scene. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society says Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 storm, could affect 1.5 million people in Jamaica alone, warning that the entire population will feel the impact of the storm. The categories of storm, which could be the island's most violent in record, is on the painstaking, slow path through the Caribbean and expected to make landfall on the Jamaican coast today. Uyi Agbomofuegbe reports.
Speaking from Trinidad and Tobago, Nasifo Mgendi, International Federation of Red Cross's head of delegation for English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean, told reporters in Geneva that the number could be an underestimate.
The storm itself shifted a little bit west. Initially, it was heading the eastern part, and that means it moved away from metropolitan, the metropolitan area of the Kingston, and which is a high population area. It has gone a little bit west, but it doesn't mean that that's everyone else's bed. Its bandwidth is massive.
Ngedi said the Jamaican Red Cross had mobilized at its highest level, but noted that coastal communities remain financially strained, while informal settlements are highly exposed to destructive winds and already saturated soils.
1.5 million people may be impacted, but that's an underestimate, because the impacts on people will include disruptions of essential services, impacts on markets, schools will be closed, and landslides will block roads. It means the entire populations may feel the impact one way or the other.
And Claire Fontaine, the World Meteorological Organization's tropical cyclone specialist, says the wind for Jamaica is expected to reach about 280 kilometers per hour, with gusts picking up to 350 kilometers per hour. Uyi Agmofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
Singh, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara has secured a fourth term with 89.77% of the vote, according to provisional results announced following an election marked by historically low turnout and the exclusion of his main political rivals. The 83-year-old incumbent won a commanding 89.7% of the vote. His closest rival, former Commerce Minister Jean-Louis Billion and former First Lady Simeon Gbagbo, conceded defeat after capturing just 3% and 2.4% of the vote, respectively. Billion congratulated Ouattara, and Gbagbo followed suit, ensuring peaceful outcome, unlike the violent 2010 post-election crisis. The African Union chairman has condemned alleged atrocities and reported war crimes in Sudan's strategic hub of El Fasher and called for an immediate halt to fighting. In a statement on X, the African Union Commission chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf expresses deep concern over the escalating violence and reported atrocities in El Fasher, while condemning alleged war crimes and ethnically targeted killings of civilians. He also called for an immediate ceasefire and cessation of hostility and the opening of humanitarian corridors to allow life-saving aid to reach affected populations. Now let's take you to the world of sport, where the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the Nigerian Football Federation, that is NFF, over alleged mismanagement of $25 million in financial grants received from FIFA and the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, between 2015 and 2025. The decision followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance, co-sponsored by Adebayo Adeshola from Lagos State and Felix Mweke from Rivers State. Adeshola said the NFF have received millions of dollars in development grants, but failed to invest the funds appropriately, contributing to Nigeria's declining football performance. And Yeti Patrick brings us the report.
The Chamber resolved its Committee on Sports should launch a full-scale investigation into NFF's accounts and activities from 2015 till date. The probe came under a matter of urgent public importance by Adeshola Adedayo, and it will compel both past and current leaders of the Federation to explain how funds intended to grow the game were applied.
For this purpose, a special committee should be set up to find out what are the problems with NFF and other bodies that are associated with running to football in this nation.
The Chamber advanced two key financial reform bills. The first seeks amendment to the Proceeds of Crime, Recovery and Management Act to strengthen transparency and accountability in recovered assets. The second proposes the establishment of a Nigerian FinTech Regulatory Commission to guide innovation and protect consumers in the rapidly expanding digital finance sector.
If a thorough reform should be made on the anti-corruption sector, you must equally adjust and amend the Proceeds of Crime, Recovery and Management Act, as well as the Money Laundering Act.
The objective of this bill, Nigerian FinTech Regulatory Commission Bill, is to aim to provide clear regulatory framework for a fintech industry, ensure that operators comply with the established standards and guidelines.
Attention later shifts to Delta State, where the House adopted a motion calling on the federal government to connect Ode Shekiri in Warri South local government area to the national electricity grid. Lawmakers stressed that the community had endured years of blackouts despite its proximity to oil and gas infrastructure.
Also concerned that Ode Shekiri is not connected to the national electricity grid and have been any electricity supply, a situation that has hampered economic activities and by extension the general development of the area.
Plenary was adjourned as lawmakers are expected to continue deliberations on legislation with far-reaching national impact. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
And that's the size of the Global TV AM news for this morning. But before we go, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms, now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.